Good evening and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on YouTube. I'm your host, Doug Engler. Joining us in the co-host seat, as always, is our good friend, Mr. Darren Starling.
Yellow.
And as a reminder, Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you tonight by Home Circle Media for the latest and greatest in anime gear, everything from pens, pencils, stationery, and officially licensed art books. Somebody's got feedback going. Let's see. Oh, that's Darren. Or nope, that's me.
I was about to say, how's it always me?
I don't know. That was me. I forgot I had the link open to promote. It's a good start of the show. But like I said, we are brought to you tonight by Home Circle Media. For all of your anime needs, be sure to check out homecirclemedia.com or look for them at an upcoming convention near you. We're also brought to you by Casey Fox. That's KAYCIFOXX. For all of your artwork, cosplay, and commission needs, be sure to check out Casey Fox on Facebook and Instagram. We're also brought to you by Darren.
Yes, if you're down in the Raleigh area of North Carolina and you need any type of landscape work done, look me up on Facebook, facebook.com/SSS Lawns.
And we have two amazing people joining us tonight. First off, in the guest co-host seat, we are honored to have the winner of the silent auction at Upper Valley Comic Expo a couple months ago. Excited to welcome Rachel Mather with us.
Hello.
And, of course, our guest of honor, very talented young lady that I got to experience her work through show by Rock Mashumairesh, where she voices Himeko. She is also an amazingly talented actress. You can see her in shows like NCIS and, of course, in Suicide Squad. Please welcome Giovannie Cruz back to the show.
Hi. Hello. Thank you.
I miss your applause button.
I do, too. I'm going to need to figure out how to get some of that stuff going.
Get some sound effects.
Get sound effects.
Woo, yeah.
I don't have the bunny sound effect anymore or any of that stuff. I have it all saved. Because I had to delete everything off of Blog Talk when I made the switch, so I could cancel that. But I have it all saved. Almost 300 episodes I had to get off of there.
I know.
That was crazy.
I know. Ours was the last one.
It was.
Yep.
For our loyal fans out there, you remember Giovannie joined us for our last ever show on Blog Talk when we did our Mashumairesh special, where Giovannie was joined by Megan Shipman, Emmy Lowe, Lindsay Shepard, and Macy Ann Johnson. Which made up the director and the entire band of Mashumairesh, which I have become obsessed with the franchise. Absolutely love it. I listen to the music at work and torture my coworkers with the Japanese songs from Show by Rock.
You should throw the customers into the mix.
When the weather was warmer and I could play the music on my phone, they could probably hear it with the doors open, but I'm in a garage. So usually people can't hear it.
Yeah. Well, those J's, they're absolute bangers. Like Megan and I talk about it all the time, that the show by Rock Mashumairesh, and not just the Mashumairesh songs, but some of the other band songs, they're like total bangers. Like they're songs that you could totally jam to anytime. Oh, yeah. They're really, really good. I wish they'd put the English versions up.
So do I.
But yeah. I mean, the only way I can listen to it is if I pull up an episode. So,
or you sing it yourself.
Yeah. Well, truthfully, like I don't even remember the adaptation lyrics in English because it's kind of like a one and done kind of scenario, just like the show is. So even though I can remember the show and I can remember the melodies, I don't remember the lyrics.
And I remember, too, that we tried to get the Mashumairesh, all four of you guys to do the cheer at the beginning, and it worked out about as well as it could with everybody being in different locations.
Well, and like not being able to see each other. I'm sure if we had like a visual like this, it might be better, but we weren't able to see each other, which would have been fun. But
as a diehard fan of the franchise and of the show, I was like, oh, this has just made my day. So
it's fun.
Now, Rachel, you got the chance to come on the show through Upper Valley Comic Expo. You said off the air that was your first convention.
Yes, it was. It was. A friend of mine was there at the convention. She's an author, and she had invited my fiance and I up there, and we had a really great time. So.
Well, unfortunately, we weren't able to make it. There was actually a bunch of conventions in this area that weekend, and our oldest ended up having to be quarantined from school because a classmate had gotten COVID, so we weren't able to go anywhere
That's
that weekend.
Unfortunate.
But
Thanks.
we are good friends with Karen Goslin, who was one of the people who put on the show.
Oh, I met her. She was a sweetheart.
Oh yeah,
she was so nice.
Now we need to get Giovannie up here.
Huh?
So now we need to get Giovannie up here. So
I've never done a con. Not one. I've never done a con. I've never been invited to one, and I don't have a con agent, so I've never done a con.
Oh wow! Well, you'll have to try.
I know, and they're fun. I enjoy them. I've never been invited to one, but I kind of think that I was talking with the girls, the Mashumairesh girls, a couple days ago about if we were all ever invited to a con, we should get ourselves on the docket as the band.
Oh, that would be
and
great.
Then play a couple songs as the band, as Mashumairesh, because we all sing. I mean, we had to for the show. And then some of the girls do play instruments, even though they're not the instruments that their characters play.
Oh, well, that would be really a treat.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember asking you guys if you would cosplay as your characters and perform.
So Emmy already has a wig.
That does not surprise me.
Yeah, Emmy, she loves the cosplay, but Emmy already has a Delmine wig with the big curl. So she's already started. I don't know that I would go as far as wearing a full cosplay, but I might try to wear the dress. I have enough hair as it is. It's all up right now because there's a lot. But I don't know that I could actually wig this head. I don't think it's possible.
You never know. Or you could just dye your hair.
Yeah, get some temporary dye for the day, right?
I'd have to. Oh, it'd be so much work. Doug, you've never seen me before, but here, I'll let it all down so you can see.
I have seen pictures of you where your hair is down with some of the movie shoots and stuff like that, the premiere and things.
Well, what's hilarious is a lot of my friends were looking for me in the Suicide Squad. And I had to say to them, if you're looking for my hair, you will miss me. Because in the Suicide Squad, I'm wearing a helmet and my hair's back in a bun. And they're looking for this massive black curly hair, right? And
so you just gotta turn it into that hair.
How do I do that? It's pretty long, but it's not that. It's not it's pretty long, but it's not that long.
Extensions.
Yeah, I'd have to. It'd be kind of fun though.
Would be fun.
I think it would be really exciting if we could figure out a way. One of my goals at some point when we can get more sponsorship and get some financial backing is I want to go to a con and bring somebody as a guest of Anime-Zing Radio to the convention. That way there's no responsibility of the convention for said guest. Whether down the road we bring Megan up or Giovannie, if we can get you to come with us to a con or something of that nature, I think it would be a lot of fun. Macy and Johnson told us that she has never been to a convention.
I've never been to an anime convention.
Today I went to a Comic-Con, got to meet Erica Schroeder, the voice of Eevee in Pokemon, and quite a few other things. So that was exciting, getting her autograph on an Eevee picture for our daughter Eevee. So
yeah.
It was.
Oh,
I was gonna say that name sounds so familiar. It's your kid's.
That's a big day.
So it was fun to get to talk with her, and maybe down the road we'll see if we can get her on the show. But tonight is about Giovannie and Rachel. We are excited to welcome them back. For our fans out there who may have missed the last time you were on the show with us, Giovannie, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, my name is Giovannie Cruz. I am an anime voiceover actor as well as an on-screen talent. I have worked on, in the anime world, I've worked on Show by Rock. I've worked on If My Favorite Pop Idol Went to the Budokan, I Would Die, which is the entire name of that show. I've worked on Space Dandy. I've worked on a lot of notable shows, typically as, maybe a side character or one-off character. So Show by Rock is my first principal role. And I often stunt sing for anime. So a lot of times your favorite anime singers or your favorite anime characters, the voice may be one person, but the vocalist is I. 'Tis I. So if a voice actor isn't comfortable performing the musical aspect of it, I'll come in and I'll try to copy their voice and do it to the best of my ability in that way. Which actually, Doug, you can pull up a song called this one, the English is on YouTube. There's a song called Goodbye Lilac or something like that. Good night, Lilac, goodbye, Lilac. And I want to say, which anime is that? I'll have to look it up. Goodbye, Lilac, something like this. Anyways, and so my on-screen stuff, I have worked on The Suicide Squad. I appeared opposite Hugh Jackman on a film called Reminiscence. And then in TV shows, I've worked on Queen of the South, Queen Sugar, NCIS New Orleans, Star, and like Walker, and a few others. So, yeah.
Awesome. We have a question that came in from the chat room from Trisha that says, "What's it like to be in Suicide Squad?"
I'm going to assume you mean like after the show, like having been on the Suicide Squad, or do you mean like working on the show?
I think she was talking working on Suicide Squad,
like working on the film. Well, I will say it was probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, film wise, because the set was really big and James Gunn does not take breaks. So he does what are called French days. Which means on set you're working from start to finish without taking a lunch break. We work through lunch, and so for instance, my scenes were all done in this like military gear, and they did not cut corners, right? So I'm wearing my regular like BDUs or ACUs or whatever they call them, and then on top of that I have a vest, and then like in the vest is a mic and all sorts of accoutrement for the people working on the show. And so, like for instance, the set was so big, Jotunheim, which all my scenes took place at Jotunheim, which if you haven't seen the movie, it is sort of like this military base / experimental facility, and it's massive. And all of my scenes take place outside of Jotunheim, the checkpoint, and Jotunheim itself was a practical set. So everything you see on camera exists except for the tower. So the tower was built about 2 stories tall, and then everything else was blue screened. So it was a massive, massive set. And so in order to like leave set to 8, like go to the restroom, get off my feet, go get a snack, go get lunch. I mean, it was like 10-minute walk in one direction to go do a thing and then 10 minutes back. So every time I had to use the restroom, for instance, I had a woman follow me to like help me get in and out of costume. And then it was like a 10-minute walk in one direction. She had to help me get out of costume. I'd use the restroom, and then I'd like get all the way back in costume and walk back. So every time I had to use the restroom, it was like a 20-minute or 30-minute ordeal. It was, so imagine like trying to hold it, being hungry, you're outside, I haven't sat down in 9 hours. After a while, I started to lose my ever-loving mind. Yeah. So it was really hard. It was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Sounds it.
Yeah.
That's
I'm like,
a
did
lot.
that answer the question? But I loved it. Like, it was awesome. I got to work with Peter Capaldi. So my scenes actually made it into the deleted scenes part of the DVD. So you can actually watch now my full deleted scene in the DVD. And I got to work with Peter Capaldi. And unfortunately, they cut a lot of Peter Capaldi's scenes out. And so one of them was my scene where we're talking or whatever. So I'm really grateful to have had that experience. He's a lovely person, and I got to meet everybody And I got to chat with some of the A team. I'll call them the A team. So if you've seen the movie, you understand why I'm calling them the A team.
No, too bad it's not the original 18.
No, not the original A team. No Mr. T. None of those guys. Although I don't know, Idris was a pretty good Mr. T replacement with the guns and the attitude.
Definitely.
And it's got to be quite the difference between the on-film acting for TV movies as opposed to being in anime voice acting and things like that. Were there things that you could take from one to help you with the other?
Not really. You know what? Let me think about that so I can give you an honest response. Certainly the hours are long in both. So for like a 20-minute anime, we could be working. It could take us, up to 4, 5, or 6 hours to capture a lead for one episode, depending on how much is in there. I mean, I've done 15 minutes of work on an anime, and I've done 4 hours plus for one episode of an anime. So the hours are long, and it's a lot of repetition. It's a lot of doing things over and over and over again. And so in those ways, working on a camera, on camera and working on anime are similar, but literally the tools in your toolbox are completely different. In anime, I'm going to be pushing my voice, and it doesn't matter what my face looks like. On camera, I'm going to try to keep it all grounded and neutral and not try to give too much away with my face, right? So they are, even though it's all under the umbrella of acting, it's sort of the medium is different. It's kind of like being a painter and then being a sculptor. It's still a visual art, but the tools in your toolbox that you're going to need are different.
And we don't get many TV and film actors on the show, so I'm curious about the similarities and the differences because, as you know, Giovanni, we have a lot of voice actors who have come on the show because of the anime side of things. So
right.
I'm interested about the other side of acting that you do, because you are very talented. I've shared the highlight reel that you had posted of your work, and
thank you. I appreciate that, by the way. Thank you for doing that.
And I wanted to have our listeners get to know more of your roles outside of just if they're anime fans like myself. Like I said, and this story is kind of funny, and I do see some questions coming up in the chat, which I will put up in just a minute. But my introduction to Giovannie, Rachel, was my wife and I were watching Show by Rock Mashumairesh, and we heard Himeko, who Giovannie voices, start singing. We both stopped, looked at each other, said, "Oh my God, who the hell is this? I need to find out now." Because it was a new voice. It was an amazing singing voice. And we literally, I think, for like 5 minutes, both were on our phones trying to be like, who voices this character? And so that was my introduction to you, Giovanni. And I know I've said in the past that we loved your singing voice. It made us stop and have to find you. So
thank you.
We have become big fans of yours as well. I know before the show you were surprised saying we have that you have fans, especially up in this area.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're an amazingly talented actress, and so don't be surprised if you have fans.
Well, listen, I still feel like a relatively, I've been in this industry for over a decade, and I still feel like a nobody, so when people ask for my signature or they want a signed picture of Himeko, or they want to talk about my work, it's always flattering because most of the time I'm over here going, look at me, hi. I'm an actor. Hire me for your stuff. This is what I do. So for people to want to address my work and appreciate my work, I mean, that's not why I do what I do. I do what I do because I literally cannot see myself doing anything else. When I was an opera singer, I think, did we talk about that, Doug?
I don't remember. Might have.
So I was an opera singer. I sang opera for about 5 or 6 years. And before that, I did musical theater. So I'd always sung and acted. And it's one of those things where it's like people from my childhood are once they see my work are like, wow, you said you would do the thing and here you are doing the thing. Like I literally could not do anything else.
That's amazing.
So it's kind of one of those things is I don't do it for the attention, but when we get attention, it's especially really positive attention, because I've gotten some negative attention too, it's a part of being visible. But when I get like positive feedback, that's always really, really lovely. And I really appreciate it.
And in the chat room, we had a couple of people who are asking who you played on Suicide Squad. I can talk honest.
Yeah, well, Doug is tired. Dougie, drink some soda.
I got it right here.
Yeah, drink your soda, Dougie. So I play a character named Isabella, and in the major motion picture, The Final Cut, Isabella is the female commander of the troops at Jotunheim, and she is the one trying to get them to break down the doors after the A-Team have gotten into Jotunheim and are trying to find Starro. So I'm speaking entirely in Spanish. My hair is up and in a helmet, so it's a different voice. It's a different persona altogether. So a lot of people don't recognize me. But yes, if you look up, I think actually you can look up on YouTube the deleted scenes for the Suicide Squad. And you can do like Isabella deleted scene or Thinker deleted scenes, and you'll see our scenes that got cut out of the film. And honestly, like people have asked me, they're like, are you upset your scene got cut? And after watching the film, so here's the really, really cool part. Is that James Gunn and I actually organized a special advanced screening in Dallas. So I emailed him. I won't tell you how I got a hold of him, because I don't know that he wants people to know how easy he is to get in contact with. But I got in contact with him. Of course, he knows me because we've worked together. And I said, hey, I really want to do a special screening in Dallas. There are a lot of Latino talent in this film, and I think it would be great if we could do a special advanced screening in Dallas for the Latino community specifically, like invite them to come back to the movies and show them that, if we mask up and social distance, that it's relatively safe. And so he thought it was a great idea. So we actually organized a special advanced screening of the film in Dallas. And so that's where I saw it the first time, about a week before the film actually came out. And I was a little disappointed that my scene didn't make it in. But once I watched the full scope of the film, I'm like, oh yeah, no, it totally makes sense, because our scene would have slowed things down, and it's so action packed that it made sense to me that it got cut. But you can still watch it on YouTube. It is up for you to watch.
I'll have to check that out. I actually rented it out of the Redbox, and when I played it, there was no sound at all. So I ended up having to purchase it on Prime to watch it.
No! Oh no! How?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I don't know. It had sound, in the menu.
Mm-hmm.
I hit play, nothing at all. What's going on here?
That's
I need to
super
see
weird.
this.
Yeah.
So I'm buying it on Prime, but I don't think they have the deleted scenes on there.
No, I think you have to buy the DVD, or you have to buy. I think if you buy it on Prime, like not rent it, but buy it, I think they have the special features on there.
Okay, good to know.
So you might have it. Look at the very bottom. You might have it. Who knows?
And
But it is up on YouTube.
I do know that Suicide Squad is available at Target right now. We saw it at our Target up here when I was there yesterday.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I get sent great. I mean, I've gotten sent stuff from Show by Rock, and I've gotten stuff sent from Suicide Squad, and I get sent some really cool stuff. So I actually got sent a VHS of the film.
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't have a VHS player though.
Do you have one of those? Does anybody have VHS anymore?
I mean, I had one up until like 3 years ago when my husband decided we didn't need one anymore, but I still have VHS. So I'm like, well, what am I going to do with my movies?
Yeah, I know.
Save them.
Mario in the chat was asking, was it hard to transition from on-camera acting to voice acting? Did you need to channel any specific skills to do it all?
Yes, it is hard. It is and it's not. It all boils down to character, right? Playing a character, being somebody unlike yourself. But the mechanics of it I'm still learning. I mean, I've been voice acting now for like, I don't know, a while. I've been in the booth a number of times, but in the beginning, literally, somebody would just throw me in the booth and say, "Here's what you're doing, go." And I had no idea um, if I was doing it right or wrong or using my voice in a way that they were looking for. Luckily, I've had some great collaborators and the directors that are really patient and are saying, "Oh, okay, for this character, we're looking more for like a this voice type or that voice type." Um, but truthfully, I think a lot of the voices that I do are so close to my natural voice that at that point it's just acting. I don't know. Himiko's a little bit higher, and some of the other anime I've done, but I never get to play like a monster or a kid or. I got to do a kid a couple of times. I've got to do like a grandma a couple of times, and those are fun. Like when you get to affect your voice. But yeah, I still don't really feel like I know what I'm doing, honestly, 100%. When it comes to, but I'm a lot more confident with on-camera acting.
And you were talking about being a part of if my favorite pop idol made it to the Budokan, I would die.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you had been in that.
Yeah.
So I had to look up your character, and you were the yellow idol.
I was Maki.
Maki, yeah. And because I was looking, I'm like, I don't remember Maki, but then I pulled up the picture. I'm like, I remember her now because that anime is so underrated and was a million times better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, well, it takes that whole idol thing and kind of drops it on its head a little bit more than some of the other anime do. I think there are shows like, God, I voice directed one where it was a bunch of boys and they were in a video game, and now I can't remember the name of it. But like, I think they kind of address it as like, these are all characters that happen to sing. And if my favorite pop idol is one of those shows that's like, here's a glimpse behind the scenes of idolship in Japan, that's a little more accurate than say something like Show by Rock is.
Or Love Live or
Love Live, exactly. So it's just like, the girls all have to sell tickets and they all have to sell like merchandise and they get ranked, and it's very similar to how they actually do idol work in Japan. So yeah, I played Maki, and God, I can't even remember the name of our group in that one. It's been so long.
Oh God,
I'm not going to quiz you. I'm not going to quiz you, but it is fun and it's funny. And actually, Cham Jam, and actually, I think Megan is a voice in that as well. She is the main female who is obsessed with the girl who has like no fans other than her. Right. Yes. Which I had asked Megan about that, what it was like to play the fangirl as opposed to the singer, where Megan has done a lot of singing in her career as well. Yeah. Including her own YouTube channel where she has some amazing English dubbed songs. Yeah. And she said that it was a lot of fun to be on the other side, being the fangirl as opposed to being the one idolized. Yeah, yeah. When I found out that was Megan after working on, because we worked at a different, so we don't see each other. We never see each other unless we're doing something like this where it's like, Hollywood Squares style and we're doing like an interview or something. Like I literally never see them, especially now with COVID. We don't go into the studios at the same time, or a lot of, as we were talking about earlier, before we got on the show, a lot of the voice talent now have their own booths at home so that they can record remotely and keep shows going that way. I still have to go into the studio because I refuse to get a home booth, because that's like another thing in my toolbox. Like that's another thing that I'm just like, I don't have the bandwidth to learn how to do all of that. The toolbox is full at the moment and you're not ready to upgrade. No. Yeah, this computer, I mean, I'm working on like a Windows 98 and they need me to run on like a Mac OS system. I cannot, I don't have the bandwidth to upgrade right now. But yeah, so like we never see each other. So Megan and I were talking one day. She was directing me in Show by Rock, and we were talking about other shows, and I was like, I had no idea that you did if my favorite pop idol, because I was like, she was like, who are you? I'm like, well, who are you? And we're like trading notes on that show, and it was a different director and all this stuff. So it's always fun when you can figure out, people that you work with. It fascinates me to see the differences between like the Japanese recording studios. And I know pre-COVID,
I've seen videos where for recording certain shows, they would bring every voice actor in to the same studio. They would stand around microphones and just play off of each other for recording. Where here in the U.S., Funimation, Sentai Filmworks, some of the other studios, it's Megan Shipman, Emmy Lowe, you all might be recording the same show at the same time, but you're in 3 different booths.
And we're not reacting off each other. Right. We're not reacting off each other in real time, rather. So a lot of times, yeah, I mean, I'm reacting based on whatever the J did. So whatever the actress in the Japanese did, I'm using that plus the dialogue that they're giving me to create a response versus sort of an exchange of energy of things getting, out of hand or whatever, or like a reaction, like maybe if one's getting upset or whatever. I'm literally, the way it works is they play a picture. It's a picture on like one screen and then the words on another screen. And they show me what has happened in the original Japanese and what the translator and producer have agreed to as like the dialogue. And I just watch what has happened in the Japanese and I kind of mimic or copy it when it's appropriate, which most of the time it's appropriate. But sometimes, because things don't translate all the time, it's a little bit different and we do change it. But yeah, for the most part, like we don't even hear each other.
Do you have any questions, Rachel?
I'm just curious. Well, I guess I'm not curious anymore. As you were explaining, I figured out some of the questions I had, but how is that process for you? I mean, it seems very interesting, kind of having to see the Japanese, but then get the translation and try to piece it together, excuse me, without hearing kind of what the rest of the dialogue even is.
Yeah, I mean, it can feel like, I don't know, for me personally, sometimes I feel like I don't know, like I don't know if it's working or if it's because I haven't heard the other voices in. But I do love it when they do have the other girls in already. I hate being the first one in English. I hate being the first one in because then I'm like, okay, all right. So because sometimes I'll even turn off the J and so it's just silence and there's nothing happening, but you're seeing all this crazy stuff happening on screen and there are no sound effects. There's nothing, right? So I like being like somewhere in the middle or towards the end when they've already put in all these elements and the other actors and stuff, because then I can react off of them and it's so much fun. But I do like being the first one in is totally the pits, I think. Yeah.
I've heard that from a few different voice actors where when you're the first one in to record, sometimes it's tough to be the pace setter of a scene or an episode. But if you're the first one, and I know that they haven't dropped many bombs on each other since COVID started because it's more of time crunch to get shows done and things. But have you had any bombs left for you in the shows?
We're actually not allowed to do that anymore.
Aw.
Yeah, we're not allowed. So Funimation has said, well, really it's Sony has said that we're not allowed to do that anymore because, fun fact, they sometimes made it into the show. So I can't tell you when that happened or like how many times or what show or whatever, but I have heard that they have sometimes accidentally made it into the show. And so now we're just like not even allowed to leave them on the board because they don't want to run the risk of it accidentally. Oh. Yeah.
I can understand it, but man, some of the stories that I've heard off air of
hilarious
that have been left in the past are hysterical.
Yeah,
it's very understandable, especially where Sony is now, has bought out Funimation, Crunchyroll, and they want to maintain a certain image.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it takes some of the fun and personalization of your characters and yourself to have fun with the other people that you don't see out of it. But then that's why they have conventions, and we need to get Giovannie to some more conventions up here, and so that she can have those fun moments with the other girls.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody invites me, I'm happy to come. I'm happy. I mean, so long as I'm not on a set, right? That's the one caveat. If I'm on a set, obviously it can't be two places at once. But yeah, I like to meet people. I like to talk to people, and I like being asked questions. I like when people are curious. I like being curious. Like Rachel, I asked where you were from and asked some questions about you because I like to meet people, So
Yeah, I'm the same way.
That's one thing that has really, like, especially switching to the YouTube, I've noticed since August, is the face-to-face and getting to see people as opposed to just we're calling a phone number or a contact number or something like that. This seems more personal, more formal, more of, hey, we're hanging out together even though we're in 4 different sections of the U.S.
Yeah.
And,
well, it is too, right? Because you guys are all East Coast and I'm in the central United States.
But I'm upstate New York. We have Connecticut. We have North Carolina, and we have Texas. So
yeah, that's true. You're probably at least 6 hours from me, Doug.
I think so. I think it took about, well, it's tough to judge when I was in Hartford for Kineticon, but we had to go from Plattsburgh, New York to Binghamton to meet up with my family to drop off my daughter to them for the weekend. That was 4 hours to Binghamton, and then another 4 hours from Binghamton to Hartford, and then reverse it. So
and I'm about an hour from Hartford, so.
And I used to live in Massachusetts, so I know Connecticut pretty well, Rhode Island, been to all 6 New England states.
And if the rest of you are like me, you're going, okay.
You're like, I don't know any of that.
I don't know. What is Connecticut? I'm just kidding.
I know.
What is Rhode Island? It's neither a road or an island.
Yeah. What is anything outside of the country of Texas? I don't know.
Exactly.
I will have to put a bug in the ear of some of the show promoters I know up in this area to be like, you've got to get Giovannie.
Yeah, I've got family in New York. Yeah, I can make it work. I got family in Connecticut too, actually.
Sweet.
I don't know where in Connecticut, but I know they're there.
So I'll have to drop your name to Sam Chase, who is the owner of Saratoga Comic-Con and Plattsburgh Comic-Con. So they do a small con right here in my town.
Mm.
So maybe next year we can get you to Plattsburgh.
Like I said, I'm there. If I'm able to go, I'll go.
Because I really want a Himeko autograph.
I could just send you one of those, Doug.
Well, I am one of those people that you guys work hard for, at what you do. And I sometimes feel bad about asking for freebies. I would rather pay because I know that's livelihood for the voice actors.
It is. Yes.
And
because we don't make residuals on any of these shows. So a lot of the people that you love on, say, My Hero or Attack on Titan or really any of those shows, they get paid the one time for the session fee and they make all their money off cons. Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So that is why, if you've ever wondered why voice actors charge for autographs at conventions, that is how they make a living outside of being in the booth or recording, whether it's film, stage, for theater, or in a booth for cartoons, anime.
Right.
You survive off of profits that you make from the conventions, from the fans purchasing things. So that's why I would rather pay for one than have one given to me, because I respect the work that you do as an actress.
Thank you.
Too much to want to just be like, oh, give me freebies. That's not why I do the show.
Sure. No, I totally appreciate that.
I do the show to give back to the community, not to take from. So
I appreciate that. Thank you. Well, yeah. I mean, it's something that, like, if more people are aware of how, I think there's this, like, maybe a misperception or misperception of people in the arts, like actors and voice actors. I mean, just because I was in the Suicide Squad does not mean I'm making Suicide Squad money. It's not. I'm not making Idris Elba, or
you're not making 18 money.
I'm not making 18 money. Exactly. Definitely not. Like, you'd be surprised. It's cool to be on set. It's cool to meet everybody. It's cool to say I was in this thing. But like, I'm not making the kind of money like you hear, like Margot Robbie's making 30 million off of such and such or whatever. Like, that's Margot Robbie. Okay. She's a household name. She is not Giovannie Cruz, who nobody knows. But
we're working to change that.
Yeah. Sure. But it's like that in the voice acting world too. Like, you get people like Mike McFarlane or Brina Palencia, or people that have been around for a long time, and they are really raking it in through the conventions and through all of the work that they've done. All of their past work is kind of building a library of characters for them, so that when they go to these cons and stuff and they meet the fans, that's how they're.
And our goal is to help Giovanni to reach that level. So we're gonna try to get her name out there. And as I said before, Giovanni, I have from Show by Rock, I have become a big fan of yours, not realizing you are Maki in if my favorite pop idol. Maybe. Yeah,
it's a long name. Who names these shows?
That was Darren. Was that a light novel?
It was. Yeah. It's based on a book for sure.
Because the light novels have the long names. I mean, the shirt that I am wearing today, I will stand up, was based off a light novel.
Which one's that one?
It is. Let's move Lucchini here for a minute, and it says.
Oh, I was in that one too.
World End.
Yeah.
So I have, and you can't really see the picture too well, but
yeah. So I played Lilia Asplay in that one.
Huh. I have to remember who Lilia was now.
So Lilia's in the all the flashback scenes. So, with the big sword.
Okay.
Bless you, Darren.
He's still awake, folks.
Yep, he's still there. He's not actually dead. It's a lie.
It's a lie. Thank goodness.
Okay. So basically, the character on my shirt is you from the previous life.
Yes.
And we got this from a Crunchyroll crate.
Yeah. Oh, fun. Oh. Yeah. So I played Lilia. So she's the reincarnation. Yeah.
I'm learning so much more about you and other shows that you've been in that I've watched. It's like, oh my God, now I'm even more excited about having you on the show.
Well, that's just a happy accident. Because a lot of times I'm like, I don't even know what shows I've done. I just sometimes you roll in and it's just like, hey, can we grab you for a voice in booth number 5? Somebody needs an extra couple of voices, and I'll go, oh yeah, okay. And then I show up and it's a big show, and I'm like, oh, whoops.
Look, I am now in this, and
I am now in the show. Yeah. But Lilia, actually, Alexis Tipton. Sorry about that. My dog's trying to tell me to feed him. Alexis Tipton was actually the director on that one. And she and I met in acting class.
Oh, that's cool.
So, cool. In the whole Worlds Collide situation, Alexis was doing some stage acting at the time and was taking classes. And I was obviously film acting and doing commercial work. And we met in acting class, and she just called me in and was like, I think you'd be great voicing this character. And I gave it a go and ended up booking that role. Yeah.
Alexis, we finally got a chance to meet her at Kineticon. And before the show, Giovanni, I told you that Mashumairesh, or Show by Rock, the franchise, is really in consideration to bump Rosario Vampire as my favorite anime of all time.
Yeah.
And I've interviewed or met every main character from that show except Mocha, and she has 2 voice actors between inner and outer. So at Kineticon, I finally was able to meet Alexis, and she was a sweetheart.
She's a great human. Yeah, we adore her.
Hoping at some point her schedule will free up where we could maybe get her on the show, or Colleen Klinkenbeard, who voiced inner Mocha.
Mm-hmm.
But very talented actresses in their own right.
Yes. And Alexis is also directing, so she's directed quite a few shows actually.
Wow.
Now, knowing that you're still getting your feet wet in the anime world, has it been a fun experience to get in to do the anime side of things? I know it's different from the stage and the screen acting, but it's something that we can expect or hope to see you in more stuff in the future.
I would love to. Yeah. I mean, whenever people invite me to audition for projects or for shows, like I said, I'm still not great at auditioning for things because Dexter, chill out, bud. I still don't know. Like, so it requires, I think a lot of these shows I could watch the J and kind of figure out the theme and everything. But to be honest, like I work a lot on film and television and commercial stuff that I don't have a whole, like if I'm not working, I'm auditioning and researching. And so sometimes I have the time to research the Japanese version and try to form my character choices based on that. And sometimes I don't. And sometimes I make really bad choices. So when I get better at auditioning, but like when people invite me to their shows, I'm always happy to play. Like, I think they're fun, and I'm the type of person that'll jump in and just say, you know, what do you want me to do? Teach me, I'll learn. I'm moldable, I'm flexible. Like, I'm happy to do it. But I didn't grow up watching a ton of anime. My first experiences with anime were like Cowboy Bebop. Like, are we not so excited about this live action? But like, yeah, like Cowboy Bebop and Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon and a few of those other like older first gen anime like things. And then after that, I was just like maybe one or two here I'd watch here and there or whatever. So I'm like not super I don't have a big library of knowledge of other shows unless my friends are in them, and then I'll watch them, you know, things like that. But yeah, that's something that I'm really looking forward to, is sort of building my repertoire of the shows that I like to watch and that I can fan over, but then also like be a part of, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? I think that was a really, really roundabout way of saying yes, absolutely. I would love to work on more fucking shows. Excuse my French.
And I want to talk about Himeko a little bit here, because obviously I'm a diehard fan of the show. I talk about it weekly. I think Darren's sick of hearing me talk about it, but Darren, you still need to watch it.
Darren's dead. He doesn't have time to watch it. And if he's not dead, he's mowing lawns.
Pretty much.
Planting trees and such.
But it's getting dark earlier, so he's got more time to watch stuff.
Well, there you go, Darren. No excuses.
Yes. Time for a binge watch.
He might have fallen asleep.
I think he's actually dead.
Uh-oh. Wake up!
But Himeko is such an interesting character, especially in the world of Show by Rock, knowing, you know, having watched everything that has come out, English dubbed, and she has a lot of different layers to her. She very tsundere, where a hard outer shell, a soft inner shell, so to speak, hard to show feelings. What was it like to play her?
Yeah, in the beginning, and Megan will tell you this, in the beginning, it was sort of like, keep it low, keep it mellow, don't do too much, don't show too much, keep it super contained. And then as the episodes and her relationship with Hoenn evolves, then we like allow Himeko to have more emotion and be less robotic and like show her thoughts are more on her sleeve, versus like in the first couple of episodes, there's a lot of internal monologue. And there's a lot of like, gosh, why is this girl following me? And you know, oh, I'm so stupid, you know, just things like that. And then as the show progresses, her internal monologue becomes her outer, just the things that she says and does. And especially after like her big breakdown in episode 6. So we actually spent a lot more time. So normally, like I said, it takes about 4 hours to capture an episode. For that big breakdown episode, we actually spent about 6 hours on that, because Megan wanted to give it more time to kind of play with like the emotional outburst. But like now that we're like towards the end of the season and into Stars, you know, you see that she kind of opens up a lot more and gets a bit goofy and is a lot open with the girls about what she wants to accomplish and who she wants to be. And so I'm really looking forward to doing Stars, so that I can have more fun playing with all of the quirkiness that is Himeko in that version. Yeah.
And I remember when we had all of you on the show, we talked about the episode where Ryuyu freaks out. She had lost her
diary.
Diary, hides in basically your closet, and Delmine shoots a beam out of her head and blows up the door.
Yes. That was so much fun, because that's like the first time that it's like all of the girls are showing like more emotion than this, and that's how they bond. You know, obviously Hoenn is Hoenn. She's super freaking cute all the time. And is in a voice and she's just so cute all the time. Like, she's just so cute.
No, I don't have her as my background.
Oh my gosh, she's so freaking cute.
And even like, funnier, The main screen is Ryuyu.
Oh, Lindsay is hilarious. Hilarious. Like Ryuyu, like Lindsay as Ryuyu is like I love listening to them in the booth when it's like fresh and it's like the first time I'm hearing them react and stuff. Like I die every time Lindsay's like, it's a case. It's just like, oh, I love it. She cracks me up.
Lunatic. No lunatic.
Yeah.
Aw.
Right. And then Emmy's got to be this stable one. She's like, no, I just like food. Everything. Oh, they were having a sale on this food. So fun.
Oh,
It was. I remember when I saw the cast list before, like shortly before they released the first.
I mean, it was like a
episode.
3-day. Like they gave you a 3-day preview of the cast before.
And when I saw Emmy Lowe as Delmine, knowing some of Emmy's work, and she had been a guest on the show in the past, I think it's the first time I looked at a guest list before seeing the show and going, they nailed it, and I haven't heard it yet.
Yeah.
I couldn't see anybody else playing Delmine but Emmy.
Yeah, well, Emmy normally does like big voices, right? And this one's Delmine is really subdued, I think, for what she typically does, but also like just that sort of deadpan baby voice is perfect for her. Yeah.
So I was excited to see that, and like I said, I didn't really know who you were before Himeko. Partially, and I feel bad about that, knowing that I've seen a lot of your work, not realizing you were in these shows.
Yeah.
I probably have seen your name multiple times, and it's like you find that one character or that one moment where somebody just jumps out and grabs your attention, and yeah. I am so glad that I was able to get to meet you and talk with you because of Himeko, and then find out, oh my god, I love this show you were in, and this show you were in, and
I do love World End. Like that story, point blank, one of my favorite stories. Like it's a really good story. It's
an amazing, amazing anime. I just feel like the ending got rushed. I think they should have made it a 24 episode instead of 12. Yeah. And they left it wide open as to what happens next.
Yeah, and I think it was meant to be limited. And I think you're right with that. Like they spent so much time on building the world in the first 3 and 4 episodes.
And then when it came time for them to go down and battle these creatures and stuff, they crammed probably like they did the opposite of a fairy tale Dragon Ball, where they would take some of those scenes and they would drag it across 8 episodes.
Right.
They crammed 8 episodes into one.
Like he's like leveling up 10 episodes later. Yeah.
And World End has probably my favorite version I've ever heard of Scarborough Fair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes.
And I had my wife watch the show too, and she fell in love with that version of Scarborough Fair too.
I agree. I had forgotten about that. But yeah, the music is really, and like the voice acting in that show is so good too. Like just some of the people that were cast and my friend Brian plays like the monkey guy, that's the bar owner guy, gorilla monkey dude. I forget his name, but just the sort of texture in his voice and everything. And then, obviously a lot of the girls and the fairies and all this. I mean, it's just like the casting and the voice acting in that is so solid. But yeah, I mean, the ending, I mean, that's obviously something we have no control over. Japan establishes that, and they spend the money how they want to spend the money, and then it's up to us to just kind of like translate it for this market. But yeah, I do really like that one though.
That was there's a lot of underrated anime out there, I feel, and I know Darren and I in the past year, I think, did like our top 10 most underrated anime.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember if I put that one on there. I know that Smile Down the Runway I'd put on because that was a fantastic anime. I don't think you have a part in that.
No, No, you're like, that one's my favorite too. Wait, hold on. Did you have a part in that?
I know, it's like, wait.
That's one of the ones I didn't work on. No.
I just pulled up the anime voiceover wiki page for you, and I'm looking to see what they have on here.
Yeah.
Anime guitarist, additional voices. I've seen that. Fairy Tail I gave up after about 100-something episodes.
Yeah, Fairy Tail's a tough one. Fairy Tail's a commitment. Fairy Tail, My Hero. I mean, those are all commitments.
Kakuryou I cosplayed from. I was Genji one year for Anime Boston. From Kakuryou Bed and Breakfast for Spirits. Sakura Quest was another good one that I watched. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shows I've watched that you've had a part in, whether main character or additional
supporting.
Voices.
Yeah. And there are more like me out there. There are other voice actors that, you know, are doing the supporting role thing over and over again and just trying to find the role that fits them, that first lead role, you know. And some people find it a lot more quickly than others. My journey's been a really long journey because I'm not only focused on anime, right?
Oh, yeah.
So for me, like do you know Brina Palencia? Is that a name?
Yes, we've had her on the show twice.
Okay, so Brina and I went to university together. And really, I have to attribute being in the anime world to Brina, because she's the person that looked at me first and said, "Oh my God, you'd be so good in anime. Like, let me bring you in."
I have a funny story, but I won't tell it on the air about Brina when she was on the show one time.
Okay, well, Brina's great. So whatever
she is. I feel bad because the one chance I had to meet her was Anime Boston, but my wife had a table. And for those who don't know, Anime Boston's Artist Alley hours are 12 hours long, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday. And then I think it was 10 to 6 on Sunday. So we were in there for 30 hours, and she was first trimester pregnant with our daughter. So when Brina was a guest, I didn't have a chance to go meet her or make any autograph signings or anything like that because she had times where she had to go lay down not feeling well, so I was at the table. The only interaction we had with any of the guests of the con was when they came through Artist Alley. Jeremy Lee came up to our table and Greg Ayers came to our table.
Jeremy, that's a name and a person I haven't seen. Jeremy used to do screen acting as well.
Oh yeah. Beyond the Farthest Star, I think was
that was her. That was the big one that she did. Yeah. But Jeremy and I were also in acting class together, so it's like
Jeremy was the first voice actor I ever interviewed.
Oh, lovely!
And it wasn't even on this show. It was on another show that I was a co-host on. We had a guest cancellation on Sunday night before our Wednesday show. I randomly reached out to Jeremy via Facebook, and I think 1:00 in the afternoon, Wednesday afternoon, I got a message from our booking producer that everything was all set for 8:00 that night.
Nice. Yeah, she's great. I mean, honestly, most huge asterisk, most of the people that voice in anime are really, truly lovely people.
That's one thing that I can honestly say. Everybody that we've had on the show, everybody I've gotten to meet, have been absolutely wonderful people, amazing to chat with. You all are people I would want to hang out with, not because you're actors, but because you're just great people.
Yeah, man, so many really lovely interactions. I rarely have a negative interaction with a voice actor, and again, I'm going to asterisk that, not everybody's a good guy, but by and large, every industry has their rotten eggs.
Oh yeah.
I know there's been some drama the last couple of years that we're all aware of and maybe just not talking about, but
yeah, we talk about the good stuff here. I mean,
yeah,
if there's issues no matter what career you're in.
Every single industry. I mean, I have a friend that was just working on a Marvel set last week and he had an issue, you know what I mean? Things happen. It doesn't matter where you are. It's constant. So, but yeah, if you can focus on the good people, you will attract the good people. And I think that's the journey that I'm on right now and why I'm so thankful, Doug, that you constantly reach out and invite me to be on this sort of thing, because it's really great just meeting good people.
Oh yeah, and like I had mentioned before, the when I started this show 7.5 years ago, or a little over 7.5 years ago now, it was to give back to the anime and comic community that helped me personally get through a messy divorce.
Yeah.
Because of finding Rosario Vampire on Netflix, and ended up going down the anime rabbit hole from that. It wasn't my first anime, but it got me back into the world. It helped give me a release from the messy divorce, things going on like that. And doing internet radio in the past for paranormal talk, that's how I jumped over to anime, because of basically being able to interview Sharmi Lee, which led to Terry Doty, Tia Ballard, Todd Habercorn, and so on and so forth.
Oh, Todd. Todd.
And then
The voice, that's a name I haven't heard in a while. Todd and I, fun fact, Todd and I used to host for Sally Beauty together. Like the brand Sally Beauty.
Wow.
Todd and I used to on-camera host for them together.
And I bring up Kineticon a lot, but we just met Todd for the first time at Kineticon.
Oh, really?
He really did a cool things, which I had never seen at a convention before. He was there with his wife, and they had a Lego gauntlet, Infinity Gauntlet set up, and everybody who came for an autograph got to do, they had the instruction booklets 1, 2, 3, 4, and you put certain pieces together. Everybody who came to the table for an autograph, or like my wife and our friend was with us, they each got to do a section of that gauntlet, and the last person to put a piece on would win the gauntlet.
That's fun.
They gave it to them, and I don't know who won it because we weren't there at the end of the show on Sunday, but I was like, that's an amazing idea. I've never seen that before.
Feel that.
Yeah.
Maybe not that specifically, because that's Todd's thing, but I might have to steal like a group activity that the last person gets to win. Yeah. That's great.
Just the concept.
Yeah. And it's fun. It's fun for everyone. Mine might be lame though, like a puzzle. Like a 1,000 piece puzzle.
I love doing puzzles. I haven't done it in a while, but I love doing puzzles. I'd be all for that.
Mine might be like a super lame puzzle, because I'm like, I don't know if I can afford a gauntlet for every con that I go to, but I can afford a puzzle.
They got them at the dollar store.
Yep.
Oh, not just that. I could talk to our sponsor, Home Circle Media. I know he has anime puzzles. Maybe you could find a Show by Rock or something puzzle for you.
Yeah.
I do have some really cool Suicide Squad gear. Like I said, people send me stuff, and I have a Loteria. Do you know the game Loteria? Well, it's a Mexican thing, but it's a fun game that's kind of getting some traction, and it's like bingo, but not. Anyways, They made a special Suicide Squad edition Loteria game, which we played at our special event screening, but it's really, really neat. It's got all the characters on there, not me, because who cares about Isabella? But like, it has all the A-Team characters on there, and it's fun. It's a fun game. But yeah, we have a couple of those because we gave those out as trivia gifts or something, things like that. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I snicker when I hear you say, who cares about Isabella? It makes me think of a story Tia Ballard told when she was on the show with us one time, that she voiced I think it was Attack on Titan. She voiced a character that was not well known.
Like Hungy or somebody? Was it?
I forget who she voiced, but she did a panel, and somebody who was cosplaying her character stood up to ask a question. And in Tia's mind, I'm a nobody in this show, and things like that. She didn't realize that she really made an impression on anybody's life. So Isabella's out there affecting somebody in a positive way, and they are loving your character.
Oh yeah,
even if you don't know that.
Yeah. Well, look, if I'm at a convention and somebody rolls in dressed like Himeko, I will be so excited.
I would too.
It wouldn't even be like, maybe, okay, yeah, sure, they showed up and they did the thing, but like, I would be so excited to meet them. Like, I would just be thrilled.
I would need to see pictures, because I would want to know how they made the hair.
Oh my gosh, of course. I would have to know how they made the hair. That wig would be massive. Massive wig. Yeah.
My wife could make the outfit, but not so much the wig.
Bonus points if they have the guitar.
That's one
Definitely.
thing I have to say. I've seen 2 Show by Rock cosplayers. Shizuyu from Trichronica.
Right?
So I got to see one of them, and I saw a Cyan cosplayer. Both of them had the guitars. So the Cyan had the Strawberry Heart guitar with her.
Yes. That's
Oh.
a hard one too. I mean, her hair's not as big, but that's a tricky one to pull off too, I think.
And you know, when I saw the Shizu for cosplayer was at Anime Boston, and we were vending, so I literally had to run around the table and chase him down the aisle to get a photo.
That's not scary at all, Doug.
No, it's like, excuse me, can I get a photo? Which
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I know that there are some, like, I don't want to say celebrity cosplayers, but there's some like cosplayers that are like known for like nailing it. And
we got to see one of our friends today who's one of those cosplayers that is the cosplaying guest. She's also in a movie that's going to be coming out next year. We've got to try to get her on the show. Her name is Chelsea Von Chastity.
What's the movie? Are you allowed to say?
She didn't really say the name of the movie, and if she did, I don't remember because so much happened today, and my memory is horrible usually, which is why I always have notes.
We'll do that to you for sure.
That's why I always write down notes. That's why if you see me like over here writing stuff down, I have 2 notebooks right on the desk. One is the schedule for the show. One is for notes during the show.
Well, you're better than me, man. So I know we're winding down, but like something that happened this week alone. We were, as you know, I was traveling out of town last week unexpectedly.
Yep.
And I got back this week, and they contacted me to do a session in the booth, and I said, yeah, sure, I can absolutely make it. Well, it was a little outside my regular work hours, but I thought I should make it up because I wasn't here, and I straight up did not even show up to that session. So it happens.
Whoops. Definitely happens.
Whoops. That was a big whoops. That was a big whoops. That was like a, oh my God, whoops. But a lot of people gave me grace because of what my family's dealing with right now. So I'm just like, oh, well, thank you. But yeah, I just, it happens. It's a weird week. Do you know Mike McFarland?
We know of him. I haven't met him or had him on the show yet, but
I'll have to connect you guys. But, like, I can't tell you how many people have been in car accidents this week. It's just been a weird week. And he got in a car wreck last night or today. So it's just been a weird week. Doug, you're not the only one. And Rachel, you said you were having it's like there's, I don't know, Mercury's retrograde or Mars or Jupiter or one of those.
Something's happening.
I can tell you how weird today was just sitting trackside. And a lot of people know that I'm a railroad fanatic. One of my relaxing things is to go and watch trains. I was in Voorheesville, New York, at a crossing gate. Saw 7 trains in less than 4 hours, which is pretty good for that area. Saw one car almost get hit because he went around the gates. Those of you who have me on Facebook, it's train number 6. Train number 5, you can see a black SUV inching closer and closer to the gates because he's getting frustrated that it's taking 6 minutes for this train to pass the crossing. And I think it was train 2 or 3 where you hear the engineer laying on the horn because the guy's walking across the tracks with the gates down. So, yes, the stupid people were out in full force today.
Oh, goodness.
And I caught it all on camera.
Boy, oh boy.
Somebody has to.
Yeah, it's in the water, Doug. It's in the water or in the soda. It's probably in that drinking right now. That's why Darren's dead.
Yeah. It was the soda.
Darren actually, you can change your names during the show. Anybody who saw our show last week with Jay Moores and Rusty Gilligan realized we had some fun with the little name changes during the show last week, just goofing around. I changed Darren's name one day, and that's how it's been since. He's like, I'll just put this up here.
That's hilarious.
That works.
So you named him that?
No, he named that himself. And a question just came in from the chat room. So can you do your anime voice from Sabatino?
For Himeko?
I'm guessing.
That's the main one we're talking about, right? Because I'm like, I don't know. I can't remember some of the other ones. I'd have to get a reference and be like, oh, yeah, that's what she sounded like. I don't know if it's going to come in the same because I don't have a fancy microphone or anything. But let's see. what does Himeko say a lot? Well, she always goes, Hoen, she goes, Hoen a lot. I don't know. I don't even know what she says in the booth.
I can remember, like
You
the
broke
inner
my heart.
monologue
That
of
one.
her, like she sees Hoan like trying to start a fire in the park,
Yeah.
camping out.
Hey, what are you doing here? And it's funny, her voice is really just my voice, just a little bit higher. She's just like, hey, what are you doing here?
So it's just a small alteration.
Owen, what are you doing here? Yeah, it's just a little bit higher because she's like 19-ish in the show. She's the older one of all of the of all the girls. But yeah, she's just, that's it. She's really just my voice. I know. How disappointing. I'm so sorry.
No,
I feel like I really let you down.
Don't be sorry at all.
Voice.
Don't be sorry. That's very encouraging to someone who's looking to get into voice acting. What if I can't do accents? What if I can't, do anything fun with my voice?
Yeah.
Now we have some evidence.
That's just really,
you don't necessarily have to in every occasion.
Well, I will say this, and a lot of you anime fans that are really, really into anime will know, a lot, like most people do affect their voice. There's a lot of children, there's a lot of oh my God, there's a lot of that happening with the women, right? Sometimes we lower our voices to do like a really sort of mellow type girl, maybe like a computer nerd that's a little bit older. Little boys are my favorite because little boys are like really raspy and like really fun. Boy, oh boy, they're just, little boys are my favorite. But for the most part, like Himeko, they wanted to keep her really natural because out of all of the Show by Rock characters, she is the most grounded.
Oh.
I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that.
So out of every iteration of Show by Rock, Himeko is the most grounded character. So they wanted to keep her voice really sort of natural and make it more about her singing voice than the speaking voice, if that makes sense.
Now, is it too on the spot if we ask you for a little sample of your singing? Because I've been hearing about it the whole time, and I'm really I love music. I would totally love to hear a little bit of singing if it's not too,
Let me look up some of the, what is it like? The future is beckoning.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go to tomorrow. But I can't remember how it starts. I just remember that one bit.
Oh, well, that was lovely.
Off the top of my head, I've had enough. I can't take it anymore.
I've had enough. I had enough. I can't take it anymore. Say goodbye to my boring life. Like I said, I remember the melodies. I don't always remember the words. Get my picture on the floor. So tomorrow, I have to pull them up. It's driving me crazy. I don't know. But I do remember that hook because, again, the songs are total bangers. But when you listen to them, like on Spotify or YouTube, they're all in J. So it's like I know the melodies because I'm listening to it in the J. But in the English, I'm like, I don't remember the words.
Well, that was beautiful. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for asking, Rachel.
And Rachel, if you when you watch, because you're probably going to go and watch Mashumairesh now, having met Giovannie.
Yes, especially if it's on Funimation.
It is on Funimation. And the crazy thing is, I have watched so much anime, and I have, we've become friends with Megan Shipman, and I knew Megan Shipman had a background with singing and music and stuff like that, but I didn't know how much of it she was going to bring to Show by Rock, and we had asked her
she brings all of it
for episode 1 when Giovannie and the rest of the girls are performing. When Hawan first meets them, Himeko stops in the middle of a street performance and goes, "Do you want to sing with us?"
Mm-hmm.
And so you can hear it sounds off, but it sounds off on purpose because when you look at it realistically, if somebody's performing and you ask somebody to sing with you, a song that you really don't know and you've never worked with them before, you're not going to sound studio quality right off the bat.
No.
Oh, exactly. So that's really cool. They worked it in that way.
And knowing that was put in that way, and I surprised myself when I asked her about that and picked that up. It was like, that was an amazing thing that I think most fans of anime, I think 95% of anime fans probably would have listened to that and been like, that sounds horrible.
Yeah.
But it
They
sounded
said, "What is this?"
but it sounded bad on purpose. And it's not even that it sounded bad. It sounded off on purpose because of the scenario.
Yeah. Well, and Megan really did try to keep, I mean, even though it's anime and it's Sanrio and it's a little bit wackadoo and we have talking talking little bears and, talking dogs and things like this, like Megan really did try to ground it where she could. And the music was one aspect where she didn't want it to be all perfect, especially like even the boys band, which is I'm going to say Shotokan.
Dokkan Joe Finger.
Dokkan Joe Finger. Yeah, those guys. Like even them in the beginning of the show, they're kind of crap, and they're fighting all the time. And like, it's like so many episodes in where they're really starting to bond and nail it and sound good and the music sounds good. Yeah.
And Hachi still sounds, 4 times through Mashumairesh, Hachi still sounds horrible, but it was a perfect fit.
Yeah. Hachin, yeah. His voice is really, I wonder, because I know a lot of voice actors that will affect that sort of scratchiness into their voice like that, but I wonder how they do that for 4 hours at a time.
They don't talk again for the next week, I think.
Yeah, or for like the whole rest of the day. They only have like 1 session a week. Yeah.
Because
that's hard. And imagine just putting that on all the time, and that's all you're doing.
Yeah, that's a lot. I'll tell you, I sang in a band for a while. We kind of haven't since COVID, but we always, we did a cover of The Ocean by Led Zeppelin. I don't know if you know the song, but vocally it's very challenging. So I would always make them save it for the last song. I'm not going to do any more songs after I sing that.
Yeah. Well, and that's something that we do in anime too. So like, well, I mean, except for Hachin, like a character like that where the voice is intentionally raspy and the actor doesn't have a naturally raspy voice or textured voice. But like whenever we're recording, if we have to scream or do any kind of like heavy yelling or anything like that, we save it to the end of the session so that we don't
so you don't strain your voice mid-session and then it ruins the quality of
blow it
else.
for the rest of the show. Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. But I'm sure a lot of people don't know that it works that way. I mean, I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you could think, oh, it must, but what if it doesn't?
It makes sense, right? Though, to save all the screamy stuff towards the end. There are some studios that don't do that, but Funimation is very careful about doing that.
And that's one of the cool things that I love about doing this type of show is being able to bring the actors on and to explain stuff. And now I have no acting or voice acting experience, so I don't know what it's like to be recording for characters, things of that nature. But some of the other guests that we bring on, artists, my wife is an artist, so I understand vending conventions, setting up, taking down the artwork side of things. We've cosplayed, so when we have cosplayers on, I have a better understanding of that type of world as well.
Yeah.
But I love learning about the voice acting side of things because it's something I don't know. I don't have experience at, but something I would be willing to look into at some point.
Yeah. And I've talked to a lot of aspiring voice actors and they always say, well, how do I get into it? How do I get into voice acting? And honestly, for me, I'm like, dude, I can't really tell you because my way was such a roundabout way. Like, I mean, I went to music school with one of the original voices in Dragon Ball Z, and she said to me, you should do this, and just invited me to do it. And you know what I mean? And like, how does any normal person get into that?
I don't know, but that's really cool the way it happened for you. It doesn't really get much better than that, I would think.
No, yeah, but I do know that for a lot of the really hardworking voice actors that we know and love that are kind of coming up and are new on the scene, for a lot of them, they submit voice demos. They not only copy voices that they like, but kind of bring to the table their own personality and their own interpretation of certain characters, because that's really important. There's so many people out there that can copy voices like almost exactly, but what can you bring a part of your personality and your acting that makes different, right? Because nobody's gonna hire. Jeremy already does Sailor Moon, for instance. I don't think she is Sailor Moon, but she's in
No,
Sailor Moon, right?
she's one of the scouts.
She's one of the scouts in Sailor Moon. They already have a Sharon Lee. They don't need another one of those. You know, they
Sure.
already have a Alexis Tipton, a Brina Palencia, a Caitlin. So
Glass.
it's Caitlin Glass, exactly. So it's like they don't need more of those people. They need another human that can maybe do similar voices, but like bring their own thing to the table. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
when a lot of young voice actors are like, well, I can do voices, it's like, well, yes, but what do you bring? What do you bring? What part of you do you bring to the table as well? Because that's the person they're going to hire. And then on top of that, can you be professional? Can you keep a secret? There are a lot of shows that we do that we can't talk about until it's released a year or more later. Video games that we do that we can't talk about, you know, a year or more later. So it's things like that. Like, how professional can you be?
And perfect example of that is like with Show by Rock Mashumairesh, that was casted pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And they didn't record and start putting it out till 5 months ago?
Yeah, so they cast it in, I want to say we auditioned for it like January. It was cast by March. We were waiting on studio time because Funimation controls like when we get studio time. So we're waiting on studio time. COVID happens, and then bam, we're on hold. So when we started recording it again, we were recording remotely, and we did that in December. So it'll be almost a year ago, and it was released like that spring. So yeah, I mean, we had to wait like over a year.
Wow.
And they couldn't say anything about it because me being a huge fan and having watched Mashumairesh in Japanese, I'm like, they need to dub this, not knowing there's already been a cast made. They're waiting for permission to start doing the show, waiting for, like you said, studios, then COVID, everything got put on hold. Different shows took priority before that could proceed.
Right.
And, you know, the procession of things, the average fan like me doesn't know, okay, well, these shows I'm crying for, get dubbed or a season 2 or something like
that.
They're
already in the can.
They're already in the works, but nobody can say anything about it because of NDAs. Every voice actor we bring on the show, we know has at least 1 or 2 projects they're working on that they can't say anything about.
Right.
We had Michaela Krantz on the show one time. It might have been the first time that she had joined us. And I had told her that my wife was a huge Black Butler fan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she was recording for one of the movies of Black Butler, but couldn't say anything at the time.
No, it kills us. Well, and I've got like people that are following this discussion because they're fans of DC and the Suicide Squad. It's like, man, you guys don't even know what's coming up next. Like, it's some fun stuff, and I can't wait for 2 years from now or three years from now when we're allowed to talk about what comes next. So it's like, but so now you'll stay tuned, right?
That's right. Now we'll be waiting and watching.
Yeah. Oh, Darren actually did.
I just took over the whole bottom.
He might have disappeared. Something happened.
I'm sorry, Doug. Are we going over? Or are we on time?
Oh no, we're on time. It's 2 hours.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Because I was like, we lost Darren. Is he like, man, this is going long. I am out.
He's
no,
like,
I think he fell asleep because he literally got out of work an hour before the start of the show, and he was up at 4 a.m. like I was.
Oof.
Yeah, that's a long day.
And it wasn't even his work. It wasn't even his business that he was doing. He works for a fast food company down in North Carolina, as well as a acting manager, and they had a delivery that he had to help unload.
Oh.
So I think he said it was like 250 pieces of chicken he had to unload. So it was.
If I had to work around that much meat, I would just never eat it again.
I've worked for 2 different food places as delivery driver, a Chinese restaurant and Domino's. I will never eat Domino's again. I will never stop eating Chinese.
My husband loves Domino's. I don't know.
Well, don't tell him.
I know. Like, oof! Don't say. I mean, we love Domino's.
I loved Domino's until I worked for him for 6 years, and that's all I ate.
You get
because
second
mistakes you got, we could take home some free food from time to time or discounted food. So when you're eating that a lot, especially the cost of living in Massachusetts is ridiculously high. And at the time, I was the only one working. I was working 2 jobs, so my wife could be at home with our newborn. So it was be able to afford all the bills. Sometimes you can't get the greatest greatest food. Your food is dollar store food,
Yeah.
ramen and stuff like that. So free pizza, free wings from Domino's. Yeah, I'll take that home if there's mistakes, customers don't pick up or whatever the case may be.
Well,
Yeah.
so Rachel, what past jobs? So we're getting to know you as y'all are getting to know.
Oh,
I'm going to interview you for a sec so we can get to know our guest hosts, our special guest hosts. So Rachel lives in Connecticut, hails from Connecticut. This experience, I hope it's not a waste of your time.
no, not at all. I'm having a blast.
This experience at her first convention ever, and you were invited by a friend of yours who's an artist. Is that right?
Oh, she's an author, actually. She did illustrate a couple of her books, so we can say that too.
So she's an author. So plug your friend then. She's the reason you're here.
Absolutely. Her name is Stacy Longo. She's written My Sister the Zombie. I don't know if you guys have read that.
I know. I've met Stacy a few times.
Oh, have you? Okay. Yes. So she's really a treasure. I'm so thankful to know her. She's really wonderful. I'm glad she invited us up there. I had a blast.
And I'm sure this was the last thing you expected going to your first con to be like, I get to talk to an actress.
I know. I definitely didn't expect that. I was thinking like, what do I wear? What's going to happen? I mean, how much money do I have to steal? I mean, bring with me.
What did you wear? Did you dress up did you do any kind of?
I didn't have any costume to wear. I felt like I was going to be underdressed. It turns out there was only maybe 2 people that showed up actually in full costume. So I was in a good place. I wore my Batman t-shirt and my Baby Yoda face mask.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I'm not sure I would dress up to my first con either. So
what would you be?
Well, that's the thing, right? Some of these cons are different sizes, right? Like some are big and some are small. I don't know, Doug, you're the pro. You tell me. So like at a big city con, I imagine most people
an Anime Boston people will bring their A game for cosplay and stuff like that. If you were to go, because Anime Boston, I'm using as I've talked about that a lot because that's one of our favorite cons. They average between 25 to 30,000 people in a weekend.
Oh, wow.
So it's a big convention. You will see probably 50 to 65% of the attendees in costume.
Okay.
Some look amazing. Some you can tell was on a budget, but you know what? They're still cosplaying their favorite. They're showing love for their favorite characters. I will never bash
they build on those, right? Like some of those people will spend years building those costumes, right?
Oh yeah. My friends Hatake and Sahara, who we met at a convention called Another Anime Convention, they made full fursuits of Star Fox, the old game.
No way.
And they won the masquerade for their category. They were at Anime NYC.
And everything, like the masks?
They had the masks, everything.
No way.
And I know they have pictures up on their Facebook page. You can search Hatake, Hatake, and Sahara, Saharark, on Facebook. And you can see the costumes that they do. They were at Anime NYC this weekend. And congrats to you guys for winning a Judges Award in the masquerade.
Ooh, yes, congrats to them.
They have to compete in Masters Division because they've won so many times for their costumes.
Neat. I didn't realize that there was like a chain, I don't know. It blows my mind. I've never done an anime con. So you know what, Doug? I'll message you. I'll be like, hey, I got invited to go to this place. What do I wear?
You know what? If you want to cosplay at your first con, the easiest one I think that you could do is Maki. Even though people might not...
because of yellow.
Because the yellow, even though if they don't understand, if they haven't seen Budokan, you could be like, well, this is the print. I voiced this character. I wanted to dress as somebody I voiced.
Well, and I already have the black hair, so that would be easy.
That would be
There you go.
easier than Himeko.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I know somebody who could make the outfit for you. So
The Maki outfit or the Himeko outfit?
both. My wife is a seamstress. She makes cosplay.
So I am calling you, and I am saying, Doug, what am I going to wear? And you're going to help me out.
I would be more than happy to. And I would love to help get you to a convention up here. Michaela Kranz, who I mentioned earlier. It's funny because Saratoga Comic-Con, I think it was 6 years ago, was the first time we ever vended a convention for my wife. She had 14 pieces of art. We split a table between her and the radio show. And we introduced Sam Chase, the promoter and founder of Saratoga, to Michaela Kranz. And it was her first time as a guest at a convention. So I love connecting people. I love promoting people. That's one thing that I really get enjoyment out of the show. Like I said before, I'm not doing this for fame, fortune, to get free stuff. I'm here to lift up others. I'm here to promote the work that everybody else does. That's why it's not just every week we have a voice actor, because our ratings would probably be through the roof, but we're leaving out a huge chunk of the Comic-Con and anime convention community by not bringing on the artists who spend the money for the tables, the dealers who do that, the cosplayers.
Oh yeah.
I love cosplayers, and I follow a few on Instagram, because I just find it like how people can go to, like, for instance, a thrift store and find a leather jacket and go, this would be good for this character, and they can just like convert it, put the patches on it, and the next thing you know, it's like, maybe they're one of the guard from Titan or something like that, or like maybe they find a green cloth and now they've got a cape. It's just things like that. Yeah. Like, I'm fascinated by how like people can see something and make it like a part of their costume. Oh yeah. Because I'm a creative person with acting and music, but I'm not that. That is not my medium.
My medium is this, doing it, and I'm not even that great at this. So, like, my wife's an artist. I could draw a stick figure, maybe, but that's about it.
Hey, there's money in that.
Like the logo that's in the top corner that everybody sees, that's my wife's art. She drew our logo. That's our little mascot. Her name is Anna May.
Oh, okay. I get it.
And she is going to be undergoing some makeover here. We're going to be
reconstructive surgery.
We're going to have a new, hopefully for 2022, we're going to be debuting a new logo. My wife's been working on that. Fun little story from Saratoga Comic-Con today. We saw this amazing Judy Hopps cosplayer.
That's cute. Wonderful.
And I have a rule. Anytime
my face is all up in it, just so I can see it. Like, my screen is everywhere. Like, oh my God, let me check it out.
Anytime that I take a cosplayer's photograph, I will hand them a business card, just to show, I'm professional. I'm not some creepy old guy looking to get a picture of a cute young girl. And I know it happens at conventions. That's why it's like I try to go out of my way to maintain a professional. I don't want anybody to ever feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's great. But Judy is like hardly the sexiest character. I mean.
But you know what I mean. Sometimes it's a character, sometimes it's a person wearing the outfit. That you don't know how they are gonna take, and somebody just coming up and like, can I get a photograph and things of that nature. And I sat and chatted with her. In fact, told her to, because anytime I take photographs of cosplayers as well, a lot of cosplayers have started carrying business cards.
Oh, okay.
If they make their own stuff or they want to get known as a cosplayer, they will start carrying business cards. So when you take a photo, they'll hand you their card and they'll be like, oh, this is my studio. This is my cosplay name. Feel free to look me up and check out other stuff that I've done.
Very cool.
And so I asked, she did not have one. Of course, giving her one of my cards, I told her to shoot me an email because she makes her own stuff and she buys some stuff, but I'd love to have her as a guest on the show just to talk about cosplay. Obviously, she worked hard to be able to afford either the materials or the suit itself.
Well, and what gets me is a lot of wardrobe stylists that work in movies and television go to conventions and cosplay. So you just never know who you're actually meeting.
Oh yeah.
I know Carrie Kiernan one time dressed up as Lady Satsuki, who she voiced from Kill la Kill, and like chased somebody down because she wanted a picture with them who was cosplaying from Kill la Kill, and the person had no idea it was her
Oh my
because
goodness.
she didn't have her guest badge on.
Mm-hmm.
They just thought this crazy lady dressed as Satsuki was chasing after them. Until the handler was like, you have to tell her who you are. And then, things kind of freaked out a little bit for the fan, but it was, it's an experience that they'll never forget.
Yeah, like
definitely.
I feel like unless my picture's plastered all over this convention, nobody's gonna know who I am.
Be incognito.
Yeah, I think it would be. It's kind of like whenever, gosh, what was I watching? It was it wasn't Timothy Chalamet. It was I'm so bad with names. The current Spider-Man.
Was it Tom
Holland.
Yes.
How he went to Comic-Con and he cosplays as Spider-Man.
Oh, I heard about that.
Oh.
Yeah.
And like he's walking around as Spider-Man, cosplaying as basically himself.
So, yeah.
And then he gets to a point where he's taken enough pictures with people as Spider-Man, whatever. He just rips off the mask and it's Tom Holland underneath,
Oh,
so
my
it's
goodness.
always fun when people do stuff like that. I think that's always a ton of fun.
Definitely.
And of course, in Hollywood, they do that almost every con now because everybody thinks it's so hilarious to go cosplay as one of their own characters that like you just never know who's walking around in a helmet or a mask.
That's true.
And especially now where a lot of conventions are requiring the face masks. Like Todd, we were in line for Todd Haberkorn's autograph. He ran down with his phone up for his Instagram. Getting the line, just yelling, and we're standing there, we're like, "Who's this idiot yelling?" And then I realized that's Todd Haberkorn, and he has a ponytail. What the hell?
Todd has a ponytail now?
He did.
Oh no, Todd! No.
I don't
seen him in years. I honestly haven't seen him in probably like, I don't know. When did we finish doing Sally? Like 2014. It's the last time I saw him.
You can't tell it from the photo here, and I know my wife doesn't want those particular photos on the show or online, but I could probably send it to you in private.
Of
so
Todd?
You can of us with Todd.
Oh, yeah. I would love to see his hair.
She my wife was actually cosplaying as Sylvie from How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, the guild master.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one either. There's just so many I need to catch up. Like my Funimation queue, when I log on, it's so long right now. So long. And then it's kind of like I get overwhelmed because I just don't know. I know, right, Mario? Yes. Apparently Todd has a ponytail. I know, I can't see it either.
That's okay. I heard a story from J. Michael Tatum of a bomb he left for Todd that I will never get out of my head.
Michael Tatum. That's a name I haven't heard. Okay, Michael and I also met in acting class. See, that's what I'm telling you. You never know when you're going to meet these people. But yeah. Michael and I also met in acting class before I knew he was an anime voiceover artist. Him and Brandon, his partner.
They are amazing people.
They are phenomenal humans. I'm telling you, like, seriously, most of the people that I meet are just like the kindest, most lovingest people. But yeah, that name, you just brought it up and I got the warm and fuzzies. I miss him.
And Rachel, if you are ever at a convention that J. Michael Tatum is at, and he's doing his 18 plus panel, that is worth the price of admission to the con, no matter what the cost, because it's phenomenal.
Well, good to know. I'll make a note of that.
And sometimes Brandon, if Michael's there, Brandon will be there. Sometimes Brandon sings. Have you heard Brandon singing?
I have heard him singing. Brandon is very tough to get a hold of. I've sent him multiple emails. He said I just have to stalk him before we can get him on the show, but that's not me. I'm not going to stalk anybody.
Well, he does have his Twitch channel that he occasionally streams from. So if you're ever on Twitch.
And the bomb that Tatum had left for Todd was Hitalia. And, of course, Tatum is... oh, God, what was he? Was he France? I think he was France, and Todd voiced Italy. And there was an episode where France had to explain the birds and bees to Italy.
For what show?
The anime Hitalia.
Oh, Hitalia, yeah.
And they told Tatum, just start off normal. It doesn't matter what you say because it's going to be like a 15-second bleep when the episode is cut.
Mm-hmm.
So Tatum, being Tatum, said what he would do to Todd. And it was like a 15-minute long spiel. And he knew when Todd recorded for that episode. Because he happened to be standing outside the studio talking to somebody just by chance. He said Todd opened the door, saw him, turned, and ran down the hallway. Now, at the time, it was also around the time that Star Trek Continues, the web series, was out where Todd is Spock in that.
That was 2015, yeah.
So I had asked Tatum, I'm like, was he dressed as Spock when he went running? He goes, no, but now I can't unsee that.
Nope. So I was working with Todd on Sally, which is totally unrelated, but on our industrial while he was shooting Star Trek. So like that's just like this. What is it? 6 degrees of separation.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and
That's cool.
I'm trying to remember her name. There's an actress that comes to a lot of New England area conventions, especially Northeast Comic Con. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. And we had seen her there, but never stopped to talk to her because that was a con that's actually the convention my wife and I got married at.
Oh.
And, 1 year shortly before we moved from Mass to New York, we decided to stop, see what she had out there. And I saw Star Trek Continues with her and Todd and everybody. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, wait, you were in? Can I get an autograph? And we stopped and talked with her for like 20 minutes. And she was such a sweetheart. It's like, I feel bad. I have like a couple things autographed from her, and I've never really stopped to talk to her.
Oh.
I think she was actually at the con that you were at, Rachel, because she reached out to Karen about being at there. Why can I not remember her name? Gigi Edgley.
Oh, do you know what? If I'm thinking of the right person, I think she was supposed to be like kind of the headlining guest. Yeah. But she had a conflict in her schedule, and she actually wasn't able to make it.
Oh, that because I remember having Karen on the show to talk about promoting that con because we're really good friends with Karen. In fact, I'll move the camera here real quick. This art piece that's above my computer here,
Ooh.
That's the first art piece I ever bought from Karen years ago.
That's fun.
That's beautiful.
I think we have 7 or 8 pieces of her art hanging up and more in a tote because we don't have enough wall space for all the artwork that we have.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, she's very talented.
Yeah.
Especially because of slanted roofs.
Yes, that causes an issue sometimes.
Yeah. I actually have any art up in my house, and that's a goal of mine is to go to shows and go to like conventions and go to festivals and just meet artists. And I don't want stock art in my home. I want to meet the artist and just vibe with them and then invite their energy into my house via their art,
I like that.
Yeah. So that portrait up there, and that's of me back in my saloon girl days when I worked for Six Flags.
Oh, cool. I was going to ask. Let's say, what is that piece back
it's
there?
Just me and it's called a butt portrait. So it's me from the back in my dress.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. From here, it's far enough away we can't tell which side of you is
right.
shown.
Yeah,
but it's.
And then I have it's tough to see behind me, but I do have a couple of pictures that are hanging up because
it looks glossy, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah, they're in protective sleeves. The bottom one is Mihoyu, which is like a dog demon thing by Sean Doonan. Very talented artist. We've had him on the show. We have like 4 pieces of his art as well. Mm-hmm. Like I said, we have a tote that's probably this big of art that we don't have the space to hang up. So when we get a house, it's going to be decked out. And like today, I got more stuff. Kineticon, we got autographs to hang up.
Wow,
nice.
My wife
keep those in like a book or something that people can flip through, or
not yet. Because they're all different sizes. Some are 5x7, some 8x10, some are like poster size things, so we need to get some specialty frames for some of the stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh,
You don't
and
want to ruin it.
No, and what's neat is some of my wife's artwork. Like she did a Moa picture, and we gave a copy of it to Monica Rial.
Monica, yeah, who's also in Shoba Rock, I believe.
She was that's Moa was the drummer for Plasmagica.
Yeah, yep.
And she did a I think it was Un was the mouse from Zuri Zuri with Darudayu.
Mhm.
And we met Jade. We gave Jade a copy, and Jade signed a copy for us as well. So I
Yeah.
think that's hanging up. So yeah, it's neat when she does some artwork of characters, and we're able to meet the voice actors. So I got to talk to her about doing a Himeko, so we can.
I'll sign it. I mean, I will. I'll sign it. I like, honestly, I'm just flattered that anybody cares. And it's always really lovely because in my mind, I'm like, I'm a very ambitious human being, and come hell or high water, I'm like, this is going to be worth something someday. So we'll see.
Definitely.
And we all have those, like you were saying, Giovanni, sometimes it's humbling when it's like, you people are searching for me. You like what I've done. I had one of those moments at AAC when I went up, making the runs. I didn't realize that the voice acting guests were in the dealer's room for their signing table until Sunday, and we were there all weekend. So I felt bad. It was like I walked in, and it was Kibo Walker and Cole Schuster. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but they're both up and coming voice actors. I knew Kiba's name because I had seen his name and credits and stuff. I didn't know much of Cole's work. And I walked up and started talking to Kiba, and he's like, I handed him my card. He goes, "Oh my God, I know who you are." He's friends with Morgan Berry, who we've had on the show multiple times.
That's
Oh,
so
wow.
And she's talked about us to him. And it's like, wait, you know me? I'm
Yeah.
nobody.
That's so sweet. Isn't that just a flattering moment? And it's also a good affirmation that you're in the right community with the right people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you were talking earlier about weird ways of getting involved in voice acting or the acting community in general. A lot of people don't realize that Morgan Berry got started voice acting by winning a contest at HaberCon.
Is that Todd's?
Todd Habercorn's fans through a convention called HaberCon. And
him and his Haber fans and his Haber this and Haber that. Like, I was like,
and they had a contest to win an audition.
And now he has a ponytail.
And she won the audition, and now she's been in so many shows, and it's amazing to see how she has grown, because we've had her. One thing that's been fun about this show is getting to see the growth of so many voice actors, and we love finding, like, you've been voice acting for a while, but you're not a huge name yet. So we still found you early in your voice acting career. Yeah. And we love finding the up-and-coming voice actors. Megan Shipman had 4 characters to her name the first time we interviewed her. Same thing with Bryn April. Anthony Bowling didn't have many named roles. And we love finding the up-and-coming people. I think we've been the official first interview or first radio interview of at least a dozen or more voice actors.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're my first... Were you my first ever or just my first anime is the question. I think maybe also my first ever radio interview.
I didn't know that.
I think, it definitely one of the earlier ones. I've had some interviews this year because a lot of people are interested in the whole, like, back-to-back Warner Brothers things, working with Hugh, working with on Suicide Squad, that sort of thing. So I've gotten some interviews based on, like, what it's like being an up-and-coming Latina actress and that sort of thing. But I think those all came after our interview.
Because our interview was end of July.
Yes,
August 1st.
Yep. Then you were my first. Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It feels good to be like, we find these people, we support them, we get your name out there, and then because of how good you are as an actress, your career takes off, and we get to go along that ride with you. And so that's kind of.
So yeah, you're also. It was a group interview. Does that count? It was a group interview, but yes, the first one was with you in July because the movies came out in August. And yeah, and nobody ever interviewed me before about the TV shows. Nobody cares about those. So
that's one thing that I try to do with this show is I like to make it more personal so the fans get to know the actor themselves, not just a character that they play.
Yeah.
Because you guys put so much time and effort into becoming a character. You have thousands of hours that nobody understands what you've gone through to get to where you're at.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for people to understand the journey so they can appreciate your work that much more.
Right. Yeah. And again, like when people say, how do I get in it? And, I can only speak to my experience. For me, it was definitely just knowing the right people and being in the right place at the right time and filling these particular needs that they had for their shows, like for Alexis and for Mike and some of these other people that I've worked for, Megan, definitely. And sometimes it's people call me in because they know how easy I am to work with and just want somebody to cover this 2-hour session for this minor character, get in and get out, But yeah, for me, it was definitely an unusual route in. I would say I got in more for my singing than for my voice acting. And that the voice acting has come along now that I've become more comfortable with the aspect of being in the booth and the way that they direct and work and things like that.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a very unusual sort of how I came into it. Because also too, like I said, I mean, my hands are in so many jars right now, doing all sorts of different things. That I really don't have a lot of time to watch TV, watch film, watch, so if it's not homework, I don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So it's really tough. And it's funny, a lot of actors don't watch TV because it's just, if it's not homework, we don't have time.
Yeah. I know a lot of voice actors who, if they know that they're going for a certain character, some will watch to see what their character is. Some refuse to because they want to go in and be, okay, this is my take of what this character. So some people never watch to get ahead of time, and some people study and study and study.
Yeah, I definitely am a studier because I don't have that many under my belt, and so I just kind of want to be in the ballpark. But again, it's like, a lot of these directors have their, Michelle Ries's and, all these people that they already work with and already know. And so for a lot of times they can cast these shows in their head.
Yeah.
And they're just looking for maybe one new name or one new talent or one new to kind of pop in. And that's when they audition others. I know my dog wanted to be in earlier. Looks like your cat wants to be in.
And this is Ainz.
Hello.
We named him after Overlord with Ainz Ulgon because that was the complete opposite of his personality. Or Ainz being an overlord demon thing. This cat is very passive, very like I just lay here and love me.
Love me.
And like when you look him in the eyes, not a thought. He looks like he has not a thought in his head.
So my dog was named after Dexter, as in Dexter's Laboratory.
Oh, I love that show.
Our other cat, Haru, who I'm not sure where she's at now, before we adopted her whole litter was named after Dexter characters.
Yeah, so Dexter was named after Dexter's Laboratory because he had this little Poindexter hair, and I thought it was perfect. And then I found out through being his mom that he's actually kind of a dick. And so... So I named him, I amended his name to be Dexter Morgan, who is the serial killer on Showtime.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he only kills the bad guys, right?
But he only kills the bad guys, yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. But my Dexter, I was like, oh, you're sweet and sour. Okay.
Ah.
I think that's Ainz too.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I we have like the nerdiest love story I think you'll ever hear because we met at an anime convention. It was the second convention for both of us ever.
Mm.
She had made two full fursuits of Pokemon for her ex-husband and her younger brother.
Oh, wow.
So met her because of Pokemon. We fell in love playing Minecraft and Skyping between Cape Cod, Mass. And upstate New York.
Oh, wow.
got married dressed as Pokemon at a Comic-Con by a comic artist and photobombed by Barry Bostwick. And her oldest daughter, my stepdaughter, is named Winry after Winry Rockbell from Full Metal Alchemist, and our youngest is named Eevee after the Pokemon. And we have Haru after my roommate is a cat, Ainz after Overlord. In the time that we've been together, we had 3 rats. All 3 were named after anime characters.
Wow.
We're not nerds at all, no.
No, not even a little bit. You know what, though? Nerds are my favorite people.
They're the
Always
best.
have been, always will be.
We don't have a Ranga figure sitting up on our shelf over there from
That's
that time
cool.
I was reincarnated as a slime.
That's actually really neat, though.
That is sitting up on the shelf back there, and then we have more sitting up there. Yes, that's a Cube backpack.
Yeah, I was just saying that. You know, I do want, this is another show by Rock reference, but I want Delmine's backpack.
Oh, God, that thing was cute. This goes up, starts dancing during performances and stuff.
I want Delmine's backpack, and I know they make it. I think you can actually buy those from the Sanrio store.
And I'm still waiting because I did because of Megan Shipman. I did a pre-order for Syrup from Bofuri, the turtle that accompanies her character Maple.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm waiting for that to come in. But she directed me to it, told me about the pre-order, so I actually pre-ordered it. We are waiting for it to come in sometime this month, maybe.
Yeah. Are you following characters also on what is this platform where they do online signings? It's oh gosh, we plugged them for when we were on as
it's not Color World Books, is it?
No. It's
Jayer or something like that. There's a few different platforms that will get signings and stuff like that, and I've talked like Color World Books we've had on the show, and they do a lot of like one-on-one interviews where fans can get like a 15 minute chat with you guys.
I'm like so brain dead right now, Doug. I'm like so brain dead from the week and everything that I'm like, I don't even remember what this company is called.
Let me look here.
But anyways, yeah, like they're the online signings where you can get like you can buy
GalaxyCon.
No.
GalaxyCon is one of the ones that.
Okay, I'm gonna disappear for a second. It is Streamly.
Oh, I haven't done much. I haven't done much with Streamly.
So we did a Streamly signing, me and the girls. And we made these amazing prints. Now, I still have a ton of these. But we made all of our prints.
Oh, cool.
That is so adorable.
Characters. Yeah. And so we sold them on Streamly. I have a store, so, it's not up right now. It's not open. I might open it just for the purposes of this for a couple of weeks, maybe. Yeah. But I have that one, and we got them all kind of in this really cool paper that's like, I don't know if you can see it.
It's sparkly.
Oh, sparkly, yes.
Yeah, like this holographic paper.
Yep.
And so I know on Streamly you can get some signatures and things like that too when the stores are open. But like I said, mine is closed because I don't have anything special coming up or anything like that. But I might open it for Christmas. Who sees? Who knows?
Open it for Christmas. Get a Maki print made up and. Also get a Lilia print.
Lilia Aspley. I know. I just don't know that anybody see, and here's the thing. I don't know what people know and how many people have seen these shows. I guess I just assume that like nobody watches them. Because they're like lesser known shows. So it's like I just don't even talk about them that much.
Oh. Talking about them because I've talked about World End. At World End, what are you doing at the end of the world? Are you busy? Will you save us? That's the entire title, Rachel. I don't know if you've seen it or not. It's not to be confused with the other long titled world anime, World Break, Aria of a Curse for a Holy Swordsman. Both Funimation titles. I've seen them both. Loved both of them. This one was beautifully done. The story was great. Like I said, it felt a little rushed anime-wise at the end. But it was such an amazing anime. It's like you needed to do more. You should have dragged. They easily could have made it 24 episodes in my opinion.
They needed to make the show as long as the title.
Yeah.
Basically.
Literally, when they cast the show, they were like, "This is 100% the longest show title in anime right now."
I think that's
And
excellent.
you're like, that's why I call it World End, and then there's World Break. Don't
Yeah. So originally they amended World End. Originally it was, "What would you do at the end of the world? Will you save us? Something, whatever." And like we just kept forgetting the title, or like we couldn't abbreviate it because it was like WW. What would WWYDAT? Like it was like they were trying to acronym it, and that didn't work.
Yeah,
so
it was too much.
World End, yeah, because it was just too much. It was too much.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, that's a lot.
How many words are on this? It's 5, 10, 13, 17, 18 words.
Wow.
I really do think it's the longest show title in anime. I'm not exaggerating. I think it is.
It
That's
might
definitely
be
a lot.
Because even Budokan is, if my favorite pop idol made it to the Budokan, I would die. So that's 11.
Yep.
And what did you say? That one was 13? Yeah.
That one was 17? 18.
Your World End is 18?
18. With World End, it's 18 words.
Yeah.
Wow.
And World Break, I'm not sure how many. I don't want to pull up Funimation right now. I have too many tabs open as it is. I think I have like 10 tabs open right now.
Yeah, it's the Funimation rabbit hole. You don't want to the Funimation rabbit hole. You will get sucked in.
We are just about out of time. Once again, I want to thank Rachel Mather and Giovannie Cruz for joining us tonight. It has been a pleasure to chat with both of you ladies.
Well, thank you, Doug. Thanks for inviting. And Rachel, it was so nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you as well, Giovanni. I'm really glad that we were able to work this out. I've really had a nice time chatting.
Yeah, well, and if I get invited to one of these cons, we'll have to meet up.
Yes, that would be amazing. Definitely.
Just a reminder, if you enjoyed the show tonight, if you're new to our channel, hit the subscribe button. We are trying to hit 200 subscribers by the end of the year. Once we hit that goal of 200 subscribers, we're going to be doing a giveaway where one lucky fan gets to sit in the seat Rachel is in. Well, not at her house, but you get to sit in the guest co-host seat for a voice actor interview in the future. We love doing the giveaways. We love connecting fans with the voice actors. And a setting like this is a little bit more personal than being rushed at a convention, depending on the size of the con.
For sure. Do it. Hit subscribe. Like,
it's worth
comment,
it.
do all the things. Get the bell.
Yes.
Turn on the bell so you get notified. Am I yelling all the right things, Doug?
Oh, yeah.
I think so. Say, hit that bell.
Hit the bell.
Hit the like button so YouTube knows this was a great video. Subscribe down below. I'm trying to think of all the YouTubers I watch that have like millions of subscribers and stuff.
Oh, yeah. They know what to say.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do want to say that we just tonight hit the 100 subscriber mark, so we are excited. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed so far. I hope you enjoy the shows that we've done. We did do a show earlier this week that we didn't really promote very well, but we did a Smash, Trash, or Cuddle. 35 characters that my wife came up with that Darren, myself, and a couple of friends of ours decided whether or not we would smash, trash, or cuddle said character.
Interesting.
It was our second installment of that. The first one was 51 characters, took 3 hours. 35 took 2 hours.
Okay.
So
I bet a little bit more. And was a flowing.
And my wife likes to be silly and throw traps in there. The first one we did, our friend Jeremy got caught up by the trap. If you know the anime ReZero, you know Felix is a major trap. He fell for that one. This time,
the friend looking up, I'd be like, have a free list of these names so I can look them up on the anime wiki.
Yeah.
And this past week, Mario fell victim to a trap.
Mario. And Mario, thank you for always, your comments are always appreciated. He's a gem.
And big thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. We love the fans. We love the interaction with the fans. That's one of the main reasons I do this, is for the entertainment and enjoyment of others. So really, heart goes out to all the fans out there who have supported us. Even if this is your first time coming, big thank you. And until next week, when we have, I have to move stuff around here. Next week, we have Denise Morris is going to be joining us. We're going to be doing a little bit of a different type of show. We're going to be talking about quote unquote booth babes, the helpers at artist tables, and what it's like for the other side of an artist table. So many times you go to conventions, you want to see the artists, you go up there, you ask, "Oh, are you an artist?" And they say, "No, my wife, my husband is the artist. I'm just helping out." We're going to give you our point of view, what it's like to help out at conventions, set up, take down, be the eyes and ears for the artists while they're working on commissions or preoccupied with other things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different side that we've never really covered before on the show. So that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be really exciting, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Of course, last week we had Denise's husband, Jay Morris, joining us. Got to see him at the con today. So it's going to be a lot of fun to chat with her, and I'll see if I can track down some other people who have worked at tables and helped out and stuff. Maybe we'll have Rachel. She said she was there with a friend, so maybe she knows a little bit about the table life.
I did help out a little bit. You know, you gotta know sales. Yeah, that you looking at that book, you should buy one of everything. Just saying, they're all good. Yeah.
So until next week when we do our Booth Babes episode, and I captioned that lately because I'm a booth babe. No. We have Evie the booth baby, but that's about the only draw in there. So
Oh, Evie.
It's all a matter of opinion, Doug. It's all a matter of opinion.
It is subjective.
Exactly.
So until next week when we have Denise Morris joining us, I hope everybody stays safe. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. Have a wonderful time with your families and friends. Stay safe. Be responsible. If you do drink, don't drink and drive. And we look forward to seeing everybody back here again next week.
All right.
Bye. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Take care.